Folks, and welcome back to the Horror Corner. I'm your host, Sean Patrick Erschen. Look familiar? I haven't done this set in a long time. I really needed a change of pace, or a change of atmosphere, I should say, because felt it was getting stale in that other location. So I thought it'd be fun to go back to where I started at the Horror Corner's humble beginnings. And I always thought this was a fun little setup too. Uh, this week we're taking a look at a classic sequel to a classic horror franchise, and that is Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3 Dream Warriors. Starring the return of Robert Englund as Freddy Krueger, of course, and also a welcome return, a veteran of the franchise, and that is Heather Langenkamp as Nancy Thompson from the original film, as well as playing her father once again, John Saxon, from the original film. Uh, Many fans consider this film to be the best entry in the franchise. Some even feel it's better than the first one. Personally, I would say it's definitely one of the best sequels for sure. I'd say it's definitely the most fun of the entire franchise. And Wes Craven actually was involved in this one. He wrote the screenplay. He didn't direct it this time, but he was heavily involved. He wrote the screenplay, and you can see his touches throughout the film big time. And it's a great welcome return to form for the franchise from the original film. However, it does actually ignore the events of Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2 Freddy's Revenge. I guess they felt the series went too far out of the original plan, the original formula for the franchise that was established in the first film. I guess they felt the second film kind of went astray from that a little bit. I personally enjoyed that film, but whatever. I also love this film as well. It's got a really cool soundtrack, I must say. The old school 80s heavy metal band Dokken. There's plenty of 80s feel in this film for sure. Some of the hairstyles, some of the music. 80s is very prevalent in this film, I would say. But that's part of the charm for sure. So what happens is this young group of teenagers at a psychiatric hospital are being terrorized once again by the villain Freddy Krueger, played by Robert Englund once again, in their dreams. And the dreams cause them to go completely insane, and that's how they end up in the hospital. And apparently they're all having the dream about the same maniac, Freddy Krueger. And each and every one of them have attempted suicide, and some have committed suicide because of this. And some of them have slit their wrist. Some of them just lash out and act out and end up in the hole, as they say, cut off from the rest of the group. And oh yeah, and Lawrence Fishburne is actually in this film too, as one of the orderlies, and he does a great job, and he's a lot of fun. But he does a lot to try and protect the kids too. He doesn't want to see anything bad happen to them, so he tries to protect them a lot. And there's this doctor who leads their group therapy sessions, and he's doing everything he possibly can to protect the children and to get them out of their own heads, and but he's not having too much luck. So they turn to Nancy Thompson from the original film, who actually has done a lot of groundbreaking research on pattern nightmares. So the doctor works with her and decides to have a big group therapy session, introduce Nancy to the group, and try and get her outlook on things. And together, her and the doctor decide to use an experimental drug called Hypnosil, which definitely helps them control their dreams a little better. And so when they try and do their group session, and they decide to take on the monster Freddy Krueger together. And it's pretty cool because each one of them has their own power in their dream. There's this one kid who looks kind of like Harry Potter. He's got this kind of nerdy kid with the glasses, and pre-Harry Potter, I might say. And in the dreams, he's the wizard master. So I thought that was funny. It's like, wow, Harry Potter before there was Harry Potter. And one guy in his dreams, he's like super strong. And this girl Taryn becomes like a badass punk rocker biker chick in her dreams. You see her with like the switchblades. She's like, in my dreams, I'm beautiful and bad. She's got like a hair spiked to the ceilings, and leather jacket with all studs and crap. This movie's a lot of fun. And there's this one girl, Kirsten, that has a lot of psychiatric powers, I guess, and she's like definitely the strongest of the group, and she's able to really give Freddy a run for money even by herself. But together with the group, she's able to do a lot more. And of course, Nancy's got all kinds of experience dealing with him because she survived Freddy in the first film, and she's learned a lot since then. So it's great seeing how they take on the Madman Freddy Krueger all together. And obviously some don't make it. He does pick off some of them one by one. Like he pretends to be a nurse to seduce this young kid Joey, who's like a mute, but he really likes one of the nurses on staff. She's this attractive blonde lady, and so she pretends to seduce him, gets naked, and and out comes her giant tongue, and she spits out tongues, and they all tie him up in the bed, and like the floor drops beneath, and you see this fire pit of hell. So the dreams are a lot more elaborate in this film. That's one of the great things about it. I'd say probably more than any entry in the franchise, the dreams themselves are really elaborate and really wild special effects and everything. At one point you see Freddy rip his shirt open, and you can see like the souls of the children give me power, and you can see like tiny heads and they're screaming inside his body, and it's pretty sick effect. And of course, Freddy has all kinds of great one-liners in this film. Definitely some of his best, like "Welcome to prime time, bitch." When he smashes this girl's head into the TV, it's like a big break in TV. and and this one kid, he like slits his wrist open, and his veins pop out, and he uses them like puppets on a string. You see the kid walking around with his veins popped out from his body, and he's walking like a puppet. And so Freddy cuts the strings, and the kid falls off the building and to his death. Pretty nasty. So yeah, this movie is so much fun. I'd say after this film, though, Freddy's character descends into more of like a stand-up comedian in the way, and it becomes kind of disappointing as the series goes on. But he has enough of that darkness from the first two films to make him still scary, but at the same time he has a lot of great one-liners, and it makes it a lot of fun. So there's a lot of great action in this film. I'd say there's more action in this film than any of the others. Where it is the group getting together, all trying to take him on. You see this one scene, it's a lot of fun. It's like a house of mirrors. You see Freddy in every mirror laughing hysterically. and the one kid, Joey, he's a mute in real life, but in his dream he can actually speak, and he screams loud, and the mirrors shatter, and all the kids come out, and they're safe again. And it's so great seeing Heather Langenkamp back in the series. She does a great job, and you see John Saxon come back. Nancy tries to get his help. I guess they want to find Freddy's remains from the original film when the parents tracked him down and killed him in the boiler room and burned him alive. And I guess the idea is to get his remains and bury them in hollow ground. Because the doctor actually meets with this nun, I guess, who he sees in like and it's unclear whether or not she's actually there or he's just seeing them in his mind. Uh, but she turns out to be Amanda Kruger, the mother of Freddy Krueger. And she says in order to take down the bastard son of 1,000 maniacs and bury his remains in hallowed ground, and then he will be dead forever. So that's the plan, and so they get John Saxon back, and he knows where the remains of Freddy Krueger are, and they're hidden in this old junkyard. I guess he hid the remains in this old car in the junkyard, and so they dig a big grave and put the remains, and that's how they plan to take down the madman known as Freddy Krueger. So, run and buy A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3 Dream Warriors, a beloved sequel amongst all the Nightmare on Elm Street fans. And many consider this to be not only the best sequel, some even consider it to be the best entry in the entire Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. And in my opinion, it definitely is one of the best in the series for sure. So run and get Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3 Dream Warriors, and thank you for joining me, Sean Patrick Erschen, in the Horror Corner. Tune in and stay scared.